All right, this is Craig LeBlanc, the Doorman, with the Daily Bitcoin Podcast. As promised, Sunday through Thursday, I will be doing a podcast for Bitcoin. As I'm ramping back up the team, we've got a couple of video and content creators helping me out, videographers and stuff to build this thing out. Please get me to like the 50th episode before I really start. We're still building a lot of the team, building a lot of the processes and stuff like that. So, but until then, I could talk about Bitcoin forever. And I do have some early guests that are going to come on just to help me build out the system a little bit better and just to kind of get the team going. But today, as I'm on the road, y'all remember back when we used to record the Bitcoin podcast from your car on the road? Oh, wait, that is what we're doing. This is where we're at. Actually having to do this while I travel. Otherwise, I would just have to have missed the episodes. And I got to stay consistent. How many times have we heard that consistency is the key to success? And so I'm going to continue to be consistent. I'm going to continue to show up every day and record a podcast on Bitcoin. So here we go. I have an outro that was designed a couple days ago, and so I want to play it to get things rolling, and y'all give me some input on this thing, anything you need to add, delete, any red flags. I did see ETH in there, so I got to get Chris. Great job making this thing. I think that was the only one I saw. I saw Ripple and ETH in there somewhere, and I'm like, maybe we find a different image. So he may have fixed this right now, but this is the old one. So y'all get to see V1.0, and then it'll, of course, play at the end. Let me go ahead and just get it going that gets things started.
Welcome to the Daily Bitcoin Podcast, where knowledge meets financial freedom. We're here to break down the world of Bitcoin. No fluff, no hype, just real talk about how this digital asset is reshaping the future of money. Inflation is stealing your purchasing power, but what if there was a way to fight back? Enter Bitcoin, the digital currency that empowers you to take control of your wealth. Ever wondered why your money doesn't stretch as far as it used to? At the Daily Bitcoin Podcast, we educate, inform, and inspire. From expert interviews to breaking news, we bring you everything you need to stay ahead in the Bitcoin community. Market updates, expert insights, real-world use cases, and practical tips to navigate the Bitcoin economy. So whether you're a seasoned Bitcoin investor or just getting started, this is your daily dose of Bitcoin wisdom. Don't miss out. Subscribe now, hit that bell icon, and let's break free from the chains of inflation, one Bitcoin at a time. The Daily Bitcoin Podcast, your gateway to financial freedom.
All right, so I'm pinning this really quick to the top of my other profile. There we go. Okay. So if you are watching this, just to kind of help the channel out, if you can, of course, like and subscribe, but if you can pin it, it does a lot for the algorithm. So it actually helps us to get, to grow our audience size a little bit faster. And anyway, that's much appreciated. All right. So I was listening to Jeff Booth, one of the greats. So awesome to hear his philosophical brain chewing this thing up and spitting out a lot of wisdom and framing this thing in so many ways that just kind of speak to the depth that he's at. I love how he said on one point in the talk that I was listening to that you've got Bitcoin will never work would be a 1. If you rank where everybody is 1 through 10, you got Bitcoin will never is never going to succeed. All the way down to a number 10 is someone that works all the way through. And on the end, it's just like, this is the greatest invention that man has ever discovered or created. And so that's a big statement. And that's where some of these guys are that I read about and that I talk to. And then one thing Jeff said, which I'm a 100% believer in, when people say, what is Bitcoin? If you chase Bitcoin all the way down to its base layer, Bitcoin is us. Bitcoin is the Bitcoiners. Bitcoin are the coders. They are the entrepreneurs. They are the holders. They are the savers. They are the podcasters. Like what I'm doing to give back and to strengthen this community is, I love creating media. And so I'm going to create media around Bitcoin to get the word out. and to be the mouthpiece and to tell the story and kind of the communications arm, or that part of the Bitcoin network that welcomes people in. That's why I got my title, the Doorman, is because I'm always opening the door for people, welcoming people in to the Bitcoin family or to the Bitcoin ecosystem. And so that's my contribution. But there is a whole community of Bitcoiners like myself, and many of them are coders. So they add their energy and their time and their efforts and their ingenuity and their problem solving skills to strengthen and toughen the network. Some of my guys are like very hardware driven, so they're like electricians and people that you know like to work in the mining part of Bitcoin. And so there are miners, and then there's node runners, and then there's content creators like myself, and then there's the Michael Saylors of the world. And all along, we've got these developers that are just strengthening the network in every way. And this network was designed so that the stronger the network is, it's a net benefit for all of us. Whereas I feel like in the current system, for me, and this was hard for me to admit, and when I participate in this current system, it's designed to pull power and extract energy from the creators. And how does it extract it? Well, it's being devalued. So you put in, say, your energy equals 100%, and then you get paid. But that thing does not 100% represent the effort that you had, because over time it diminishes in purchasing power. So it's like you paid 100 energy units, but then you come back to what you got paid in, and it's only worth like maybe 80 energy units. So that means all of your work, the energy is being extracted out of it. And with Bitcoin, it's just the opposite. The harder I work at, building inside this Bitcoin network, the whole system gets stronger. Everything I hold in Bitcoin gets stronger. The community gets stronger. We get more entrepreneurs involved. We get more coders. We get more communicators. We get more people storing their wealth and taking their long-term wealth storage, their long-term treasury, and they're starting to use it to hold value. And then we've got entire networks throughout the whole world growing, where they're starting to use it as a means of exchange, that this is their currency. This is their thing that they say, I'll exchange my service for that piece of property, that value in Bitcoin. And it's happening so seamlessly on these devices. And I would just say this: if you look at what is the maximum usage of Bitcoin in every way that we could use it, and let's just say it meets complete market maturity, and it consumes all that it could consume. It consumes all the consumable things that Bitcoin could go after. I would say where we are right now till that date, I mean, it's almost immeasurable how early we are. And I know a lot of people are throwing out the numbers. There's $900 trillion worth of stuff on planet Earth if you were to just value it all. Like all the property, all the bonds, all the, gold, all the, everything that could be valued in dollar terms. They say it's around 900 trillion, and that the Bitcoin market cap is only 2 trillion. And so you could say it's got, however many, 450x to go to consume that. But that's assuming that in a Bitcoin network, that how big could our system be if most of the system was not meant to be a drag on our productivity. And right now, all of our productivity just gets dragged down from, and that's why things are getting more expensive. If you want proof that the system's dragging us down, then things are going up in price. But it only makes sense that things should go down in price. Because with AI, as a great example, don't you think you can run an accounting department much more efficiently using AI than if you were to do it just by using human bookkeepers? And so you might be able to let half or all of that staff go and just pay a, $50 a month subscription to some AI that can do all your bookkeeping. And now that company runs much more efficiently, which should overall drop the price of all goods and services, because now they've just deleted the bookkeeping department, or it's been boiled down to a subscription model of an AI. And now you can just go through entire companies, ripping through them, with all these efficiency gains, and this has actually been going on for a long time. I mean, if you just look at logistics and how much more efficient we've gotten at transporting goods and services across great distances or across look at the interstate system, the trucking system, all the automation that's gone on inside of warehousing. I mean, you don't think Home Depot's gotten better over the years? Look at the Walmart that we grew up with in the 90s and look at the Walmart they have today. We've gone from like something the size of a Winn-Dixie to something the size of, 10 Home Depots. And you don't think that whole system's got better at delivering Chinese goods and services from across the ocean. Things should be dropping in prices is what I'm trying to tell you. And the only reason things go up in prices is because the dollar is losing purchasing power. It has lost purchasing power. And so that's why they say, Bitcoin is repricing everything. In dollar terms, Bitcoin's going up forever. And people are always asking me, when should I buy? I'm like, when do you want to get off the Titanic, buddy? It's sinking. You can get off now, or you can get off later when there's not as much room on the very few lifeboats that are left, and everybody's trying to get the last few lifeboats. And so if each Bitcoin was a lifeboat, there's not that many left because I think 19 million of them roughly are already spoken for. And so we don't have a lot of Bitcoin left to go, and pretty soon everybody's going to be fighting over the same few Bitcoins. So the only place to go is up with the price. But anyway, back to what Jeff Booth was saying as far as the community. I gotta say, if you ask me why I'm in Bitcoin or why you should be in Bitcoin, and I asked this question to a lot of Bitcoiners that I look up to, I'm like, what's the most compelling reason that you found so far? And I know this is going to evolve for a lot of people, but maybe ask yourself, what's the most compelling reason that you're in Bitcoin? I know right now with my channel, I'm only talking to Bitcoiners because it's only my close friends that are deep in the Bitcoin rabbit hole, and the channel's so new. So I can pretty safely say right now I'm talking exclusively to Bitcoiners. So ask yourself, what is the most compelling reason you've discovered so far? Hey, leave it in the comments. That's one of those tricks. We ask people to leave it in the comments, hopefully to drive interaction and stuff. But I actually do want to know what are the most compelling reasons, like one sentence reasons that you're like, this is a game changer. It changes everything. And here's what it did for me. And it's going to be hard to rank it, but I would just say number one is Bitcoin empowers the little guy. Okay. And when I say the little guy, the weakest among us, because typically the money always went to the powerful. And in its base, like most rudimentary explanation of that, it's like, if you are stronger than another person, you can physically take their stuff. Okay. And so forever, whoever was strong got to keep their stuff. And if you were weak, you typically lost your stuff to the stronger group of people. Along comes Bitcoin, and it's like, I don't care how strong you are, you're not going to spend more money than you could potentially get. So you're not going to spend $10,000 to get a $100 bill. Okay. At some point, you're going to start measuring what is the cost of stealing that guy's stuff. And if the cost ever exceeds what you could possibly get, then you'll probably not do it, right? And so this is where Bitcoin comes in and says the cost to take my Bitcoin is near infinite. You can lock it up in multi-sigs. You could maybe 5-wrench attack somebody and maybe get, beat it out of them, only to find out there's only $10 in there or nothing in that one, or that's a fake wallet, or he gave you the wrong number or the wrong, 12 words, something. And so you're like, God, I went through all of this. And then let's say you try to hack into it. Well, that's never been done yet. And so you're just going to waste a lot of time and money doing that. And so what it does is Bitcoin makes attacking through force too expensive and too improbable. And I could say, even if you could get it, there's so many softer targets out there. Think of Bitcoin as the hardest safe to crack, surrounded by very weak safes. So the smart thief is just going to go after the easier targets. And for now, Bitcoin is the hardest target out there. And so what I like to say is it demonetizes violence. It demonetizes theft. It makes it to where the thieves and the violent people are just going to go elsewhere. And that's actually going to push more and more people. And that's why you see places where they're harshest on Bitcoin is the places where they really understand its power and it can even flourish in those parts of the world. And so for me, it's how it gives strength and power back to the people, and it's property that you can actually own. And for me, that's one of the most compelling reasons why. Now, as far as the social layer, I do encourage everyone to, do your part. You really have to do more than just buy and hold Bitcoin. This whole network is us. It belongs to us. It's the people's network. It's the decentralized network, which by definition is the people's network. Okay, that means there's no central. If the what do you how do you define the people? Isn't that all 8 billion of us? Yeah, that's how I would define the people. The most decentralized, meaning that it's dispersed more equally among everybody. It's our network, it's our miners, it's our nodes, it's all open to the public to defend and to hold and to use among us peer to peer. And so this is the people's network. And if you want to see it succeed, then you got to invest your time and your money and your assets and your learning and your education and your teaching ability and your coding ability and your abilities left, right, and center are going to come into this network. Now, the more of us that do this, then the more this benefits all of us. And so I love how Jeff was just talking about how the social layer is like the fail-safe switch. Like at the end, if you start attacking Bitcoin and attacking, at the very bottom, you're just going to find a bunch of entrepreneurs, engineers, wealth creators, podcasters. It's just like some of the most intense go-getter, we're going to make this happen and defend our property people on earth. And they're in every country and every language and every corner, and it's growing at a pace that's just has not been seen before. If Bitcoin were a country, it's the fastest growing country on earth. And so this is a country with a digital property that we can all hold and that we can all transact in. And so I'm super excited to do my part to finally start up this daily Bitcoin podcast and to just throw my hat in the ring and saying, look, I like creating podcasts. I like creating media. I like talking about things I believe in. I believe in this. So I am just going to continue to create content for you guys and just try to sound the alarm, invite as many people as you can in here. If this is your first time listening to anything Bitcoin, look, I'm like the entrance way. There are so many good people out here that I would recommend. Anything Michael Saylor says, I like the guy. I think he's brilliant the way he thinks through things in a very engineering way. And then being a head of a not a Fortune 500, soon to be Fortune 500, just a publicly traded company. I like the way he thinks about finance and stuff. Jeff Booth has always just been one of the early guys. Shout out to Robert Breedlove. I think he was the first guy I ever stumbled across, and I think I watched all of his stuff. Actually, I watched Michael Saylor, that first interview where Robert interviewed Michael Saylor for like 8 straight episodes or 10 straight episodes. That was awesome. And then he did the same thing with Jeff Booth. Both of those are great. The Booth series and the Saylor series on Robert Breedlove. Go watch that. If you're new to this, just press stop on this crap. Go watch those 16 hours, and that's going to help you cover a lot of ground. And then there's a lot of great people out there. Samson Moe is doing a lot of good stuff. What's her name? Lynn Alden wrote a great book recently released. It's called Broken Money. That's a great book. I like the way she talks about just the history of money, and she gives you a good financial education along the way. And towards the end, she kind of talks about Bitcoin. But I think that's mostly what we need is we need a little bit healthier, a stronger understanding of the history of money and finance and world power and stuff like that. Jason Lowry wrote a great book, Soft Wars. Highly recommend that one. And Saifuddin Ammous wrote The Bitcoin Standard, another great book, another great, and I think he has a podcast. Anything these guys have, look, you're going to have to do like the rest of us and dive in there and open up your mind. And you're going to find that a lot of things that you were taught were not financially were made to kind of keep you poor and keep you down and stuff. And then as these group of coders back in 1992, if you look at the early mailing list of the cypherpunk, so it goes all the way back to there, they tried to solve all of this. And it was a mountain of failures that they created by trying to create something which would eventually be Bitcoin that Satoshi found. And basically, on top of all these failures, he would say he was looking for the solution. But they had been looking for the solution since, I mean, gosh, you could probably say all the way back to the Enigma machine when cryptography came around. But definitely by 1992, they were like, we have to solve this problem. And if we're going to get out of this centralized authority embedded within our monetary system. So, so Satoshi comes along and just unleashes this sucker in 2008, 2009, starts mining it. And then here we are in 2025, and it's finally come into its own where it's the gig is up. Everybody knows about Bitcoin. And now it seems like everybody's trying to study it, kill it, protect it all at the same time. But it's exciting. I'm glad y'all are here. I will be back tomorrow with Adam O. We're scheduled for yesterday, but we got messed up in communication. He had a buddy of his that needed a ride from the airport, so we just rescheduled for tomorrow. Next Friday, I've also got Amada Moose, which is Seyfuddin's brother. He's a neurosurgeon, and he wrote a great book about the power of sunlight and the carnivore diet and all kind of other stuff. So we had a really good chat in the last show that I helped put on. So those two guys are coming back, and we've got several others that are coming in. So hopefully we will get this thing going here shortly. Like I said, give me another 40 or 50 episodes, and we will get this thing polished up. Chris, thank you for all the editing in the background. He's the one creating these little shorts. We're going to do a lot of cool stuff, I think, on the video content creation thing, maybe even have a little contest for a Bitcoin commercial that we can unleash on planet Earth. So, all right, I will be here again tomorrow, 9 p.m. With Adam O, Denver Bitcoin. I will see y'all. Y'all have a great night. Love you guys. Bye.
Welcome to the Daily Bitcoin Podcast, where knowledge meets financial freedom. We're here to break down the world of Bitcoin. No fluff, no hype, just real talk about how this digital asset is reshaping the future of money. Inflation is stealing your purchasing power, but what if there was a way to fight back? Enter Bitcoin, the digital currency that empowers you to take control of your wealth. Ever wondered why your money doesn't stretch as far as it used to? At the Daily Bitcoin Podcast, we educate, inform, and inspire. From expert interviews to breaking news, we bring you everything you need to stay ahead in the Bitcoin community. Market updates, expert insights, real-world use cases, and practical tips to navigate the Bitcoin economy. So whether you're a seasoned Bitcoin investor or just getting started, this is your daily dose of Bitcoin wisdom. Don't miss out. Subscribe now, hit that bell icon, and let's break free from the chains of inflation, one Bitcoin at a time. The Daily Bitcoin Podcast, your gateway to financial freedom.